A very good morning to everybody who is joining us today for our very special episode of Hello Kolkata, a Kolkata Calling Podcast Series. Today we have a very special guest with us, and I'm going to be introducing the guest very shortly. As you all know, we've started doing this weekly podcast where we bring in very special people from Kolkata, from Bengal, listen to their stories, listen to their journeys, and understand, for them, what does Kolkata mean? What are they doing for Kolkata and beyond, for India, for the world, and listen to the journeys, take some inspiration from them. So today we have a very special guest. Before I introduce the guest, firstly, Jeta bola khub dorkar. Yesterday was a terrific night for everybody, every sport lover, every cricket lover, every Indian. So many congratulations to Team India for a much deserved and long awaited victory at the T20 World Cup Finals 2024. The team played brilliantly. Last half an hour, we almost had our hearts in our mouths because we thought we were going to lose, but thankfully, we were able to bring victory from the jaws of defeat, literally. So many congratulations and a fantastic day to have the podcast right after India's emphatic victory at the World Cup. So with that out of the way, a few small announcements from the page that have really given us and Kolkata a lot to cheer about. There is a new data center that's coming up in Newtown, which is through Control S Data Centers. So we hope this is the start of another technological revival with so many other data centers coming up in the tech hub in Newtown. Along with that, we welcomed Lenskart with their very own new state-of-the-art office in Kolkata. And the pictures of the offices have come in. Beautiful office that they've set up. So many congratulations to the Lenskart team. We also shared a news about the inauguration of the Jagannath Temple in Digha. So we are all eagerly looking forward to that. It's simply a work of marvel that we have this beautiful temple that's been built in Digha for all devotees that want to go there. And also it will become a great tourist attraction. So all of that. And today there is also, we have a special guest who we can ask about, what they feel about the presence of Kolkata and Bengal and how it has shaped traditional industries, because there was a lot of controversy around Britannia Industries Limited last week, and we tried our best to clarify. And whatever the facts are, we presented those facts. We'll let you be the judge in terms of what the reality is, what the truth is, because we have a lot of conflicting news coming in from different places, but we continue to remain optimistic. And the last update was a beautiful office picture from Berger's new corporate office that's coming up in Newtown again. So many congratulations and best wishes to the Berger team. So with that out of the way, now let me get into the podcast mode by introducing our very special guest today. So today we are extremely honored to have Mr. Hirak Bhattacharjee, who is the director at Shalimars. Shalimars we all know very well. Hirak himself is a third generation entrepreneur. He's a painter, a photography enthusiast, and he's holding a full-time director role at Shalimars. He completed his master's in business administration, international business, and has been always focused on driving business growth and exploring new territories and new markets for the business, for the brand. Apart from this, there's also an interesting part about Hirak, which we'd like to talk to him today about, is his involvement as the co-founder and trustee of Animal Kingdom, an NGO for stray dogs, which is doing fantastic work. We would like to talk about that too. And about Shalimars, we all know we've grown up loving this brand. It's a sign of quality that Bengalis and all Indians across the country have grown up loving since 1941. It has revamped itself, rebranded itself in so many avatars over the years, but it continues to be a household name for all Indian families. So today we'll know more about Hirak's own personal journey into the business and about Shalimars and what his plans are for the future. So with that, let me bring in Hirak Bhattacharjee to the main stage. Hirak, very good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Shubhit.
My pleasure, and thank you so much for taking time out on a Sunday. I know would have been a little late last night because everybody was busy celebrating. So just to start off with that, how was the last night, and where were you? What were you doing? How did you celebrate after?
Yeah, actually, I was in the club. I was in Calcutta club, and
Wow.
I was hanging out with my friends. And some associates there, and it was a pretty exciting last over,
Yeah,
to be honest. And that shows, anything can change
yeah,
over the game in the T20. So it was
yeah,
pretty exciting. We had a wonderful time yesterday. It was a little bit flat in the middle, but
yeah.
sharing the emotion with the friends and family around. So that was really something.
No, absolutely. And I think we'll all remember where we were, what we were doing, because it's a pretty historic win coming after a long, long time, much awaited, a lot of disappointments before. But I think fantastic way to start. Hirak, you have been associated with Shalimar for a very very long time now. Obviously, it's part of your family legacy, family business. But if you can take us through a little bit about your early days also. Early days, a little bit about your growing up time, your schooling, education, all of that. If you can shed some light on that.
Well, I'm a hardcore Calcuttan, to be honest, and I grew up here. I was born here, and then till 10th grade, I
Hmm.
did my schooling here. So I was from Birla High
Yeah,
school, and then from there after 10th, since we are having our establishments and manufacturing all areas in the south of India. So we
yeah,
I did my higher education for +1 and +2 from Chaitanya in Hyderabad, and
yeah,
then I did my engineering from Osmania Vasavi College. It's an Osmania affiliated college in Hyderabad,
yeah.
and then from there I did my masters in international business in UK. And then in UK I was there for 2 years, and I worked there in certain places, and then I came back and joined the family business.
Wonderful. And growing up in Calcutta, Birla High obviously is a famous school. Did you have Ma'am Mukta Nain as the principal at that time?
Yes. She was my
You did? Okay.
principal. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, because I have some very fond memories of going to Birla High for debates and quizzes. So fantastic. Uh, so Hirak, you studied, partly in Kolkata, partly in Hyderabad. You did your engineering, then you did your MBA. But was the plan always that you will have to join the family business? You will join the family business. What was that mindset and that trajectory like?
The plan from the very early days, from the time I was in school,
Hmm.
from the early days, maybe when I got a little bit of senses from sixth grade and seventh grade,
Yeah,
when I started going to, I used to hang around with my father in his
yeah.
office on weekends generally, because
Hmm.
at that time we were he used to come here regularly, and he used to tell me, you come along with me. So I used to come around and used to see how he used to work. Previously, I in the beginning, when I was a little bit immature, I used to think that, this guy doesn't do anything, he's only on the phone. So
Yeah,
the thing is, I used to tell him, what do you do on the phone? I normally, we have got an idea, in office, like any other kid, there will be so many files and all, whatever. But it was a little bit educational. He actually imparted me with the knowledge of effective management, how effective management can be done. And to be an effective manager, what are the qualities we require to effective manager, so that you inspire your team rather than ordering them. And getting things done on time comes with the perks, and incentivizing certain opportunities for the management at that time. So learning that, and then when I shifted to my higher education in Hyderabad, then I used to visit the factories regularly, and I used to see how things are working, how labor management is done, how man management is done, how machinery operations are done. All these
hmm.
things came into being, and it was a pretty good journey at the time. I learned a lot along the path.
And it seems you almost had your like live internship while you were studying at
That's true.
Shalimar. Uh,
Yes.
was the plan to do, let's say, the chemical engineering and MBA in line with the role that you would be taking up in the future? Was that a planned career, an academic choice?
Academic, see, for us, I did my electronics and communication engineering,
Yeah.
and from Osmania, and because I had a lot of passion about wireless communication at that time. It
Hmm.
was developing an app-based systems,
Yeah.
circuitries, and I wanted to learn more about it. So I thought that, why don't I go for engineering, and it will, because an engineer, being an engineer, any engineer who is watching today can relate that there is an overall development of the personality during that. And
Hmm.
after that, a lot of technical knowledge comes in, because machine learning comes in. So these
Sure.
things will help me in value adding my business, and running the organization. And at the same time, after that, I chose international business because I wanted to explore the international markets at that time. At that time,
Yeah.
we were very much nationalized, and we were concentrating on the domestic markets. So I thought that, why not we take it further, and we introduce our products to the world around us,
Mhm.
step by step. So for
Understood.
that reason, I wanted to do my international business to learn about cross cultural marketing, and international financial transactions and negotiations, how it is done, and how
Hmm.
to generate a mutual beneficial arrangement for the
Sure.
suppliers and the giver and the taker. So those things actually helped me quite
Wonderful.
a lot.
Yeah. And Hirak, once after completing your education in UK, you came back to India. You took charge. You took the reins of Shalimars. What was that getting used to? Coming into the family business, taking ownership, taking responsibilities as a director, and and when we hear people coming back from UK or other parts of India to Kolkata, there's sometimes a little bit of adjustment that is needed. So I know you divide your time, but how was that adjustment coming into that role and the city?
My education in United Kingdom was only because of the cross-cultural establishments. What we can do when we join
Sure.
the business. For me, adjustment was never an issue, because I
Hmm.
have, from my childhood, I've got this learning of being grounded, and keeping my feet on the reality.
Yeah.
So when I came back, I know what are the problems, what problems we can face, and what are the challenges our generation will face in the coming business,
Hmm.
because of the ease of doing business, ease of loans. There will be a lot of players who are coming in,
Hmm.
and the legacy players will have competition to stand out from
Sure.
that competition, and
Hmm.
to maintain um, that kind of USP and the differentiator, what we call.
Hmm.
So this was really important. For that reason, it was not much of a problem for us, because
Sure.
I was always grounded, attached with my family, from with my brothers. My brothers already joined the business at that time. So
Hmm.
they were working full time. By the time I came back, I wanted to, since it is a family business, there is a lot of processes which are already there, but at the
Yeah.
same time, we need to improvise on these processes. We need to innovate on the
Yeah.
structural aspect and the governance aspect, and in the products, in the way the products are handled, everything. But there my expertise came in, where
Hmm.
little bit of innovation, little bit of turnaround, in certain fields was necessary.
Yeah.
Little bit of value addition which I can give, whatever I can contribute. And
Yeah.
my rest of the family, my brothers, actually created a very comfortable support system for that.
Hmm.
For
For
that
that
reason, it was,
transition in the business, coming into the business, the onboarding.
yes, the onboarding part.
Yeah.
Because my brother actually joined 2 or 3 years back, so he actually
Yeah.
introduced me to a lot of things, and he was of great help at that time.
Yeah.
Without him, I would have been, in a pool, in a deep sea, because there are a lot of systems which needs to be learned. So certainly
Yeah.
when we come into a business, or any professional who
Yeah.
joins a company, what
Hmm.
happens is, first at a glance, the cosmetic part actually affects them, but
Yeah.
then we go deep inside, and why this kind of system is there, what is
Yeah.
the reason behind it, whether the new kind of innovation in this kind of angle will help the market, because at the end of the day we are selling our products. I have to
Sure.
be very much honest and deep rooted with my connected with my customers. So my customers are everything for me. For that reason,
Yeah.
for their satisfaction and comfort, whatever is required we have to do. For that reason it was really helpful
Yeah,
at
and
that
one
time.
thing important you mentioned, Hirok, is that when somebody comes in, whether you're coming at a very high level, or even if you're coming into an organization at a junior level, you come from your experiences and your knowledge from outside. Whereas an organization such as Shalimar's, which has grown over so many years, it has undergone many changes, systems, processes, policies. Once somebody comes in, they think that I have a lot of ideas and I want to make some change, because you obviously come in and want to make some impact. So how was that balance of you coming in with your education, your expertise, and your ideas, and obviously you find that there are certain things that are very, very, done in a certain way, let's say in the company, which have been working very well. So that,
Mhm.
I would say, I wouldn't say conservatism, but that tradition versus the innovation that you're talking about, how did you strike that balance?
Actually, I think about innovation in tradition. You know,
Hmm.
because that
Hmm.
mode of operations, the SOPs are already there. Now, what I
Yeah.
can do is I can help with my expertise, whatever I have learned and gathered the experience, that can take this process and multiply the outcome of that. You
Sure.
know, for
Sure.
example, in operations part, the systems
Hmm.
should be there, the proper technological influx must be there,
Hmm.
for so that there is a positive outcome, and there is a ease of doing things, certain things that must be done, which can be done within a very small amount of time, with a little bit of less effort, more outcome, more reaction.
Sure.
So all these things must be little bit balanced. And what I learned, since I have visited my our production areas, our manufacturing plants from a very early age, what happened is, more or less, I had this idea, how things are
Hmm.
done. And
Wonderful.
the previous generation of my father, and he was a very advanced modern person at his time.
Hmm.
So he has already done what needs to be done at that point of time, balancing the effects of the company, because
Yeah.
certain innovations, what happens is, we cannot apply everything once, because there's a proper technological influx for proper products. The
Sure.
products I am selling, which is a very low cost SKU units, if I can say. So,
Hmm.
suppose my one piece of one SKU, or one piece of my product can cost around 40-50 rupees, maximum 300
Hmm.
rupees, 400 rupees,
Hmm.
like that. So my technological influx must be in balance with that cost, because that is actually affecting the economics. Suppose you are
Sure.
selling a car, so the
Hmm.
technological influx for selling that car is a little bit different, because that unit price is around 18 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs. So the
Yeah.
margins are different, the industry is
Yeah.
different, the
Hmm.
asking is different, people's expectation is different. So everything is depending on the customer expectation and ease of doing
Sure.
business.
Hmm.
So actually, if we can balance between the amount of technological requirement to
Yeah.
the company which is working, and which will
Hmm.
actually add value to the company, I think that must be analyzed. And
Yeah.
a bit of porous, spongy mindset is really required for that. That we have
Sure.
implemented and got tremendous support from the rest of the management for that.
Wonderful. No, I think when you say spongy, I mean, that is completely an antithesis to being a rigid mindset. And I think that's
Yes.
very important to absorb new ideas as well. So, Hirok, if you can tell us a little bit about, your role today, the scope of what you're doing, what your responsibilities are within the overall Shalimar group. And I know you mentioned that, obviously there is a huge history, heritage, tradition, culture that Shalimar has. But you said that you are more focused on the future because the tradition is already there. That's the foundation that has
Yes.
already been laid by earlier generations. What is next? So if you can tell us a little bit about your role, and then what is the path that you want to take Shalimar on.
When I joined the business, I was looking into several aspects, how the organization was working and everything. And then, we are actually, our board is we take our board really seriously. There are many
Right.
family businesses where the members of the board is just there, and I have
Hmm.
seen in my circle.
Yeah.
So the thing is, for us, whenever we are entering the board meeting or anything, we don't consider ourselves as family members. We consider
Hmm.
ourselves as interested parties in the company, who is looking everybody is looking for the interest of the organization. When this kind of mindset develops, and then what happens is there is a portfolio management, because the board
Sure.
decides who will do what. And
Yeah.
the board has given me the responsibility to take care of the entire marketing, sales, expansion, and innovation, technological innovation in the company. So
Wonderful.
this was my role when I joined, because since I did my master's international business, and I was very much whatever the education I have, actually
Hmm.
that was very much considered by the board at that time, whether this person is suitable for which portfolio. So
Sure.
I am still looking after the entire marketing part, say marketing, sales management, and
Hmm.
international markets, and technological innovation in the
Okay.
company.
Wonderful.
So to make things easier for the company on the long run.
And we got a couple of questions already. One is when you joined, and maybe this is a little I would say improv in a manner, but we got a question from our listeners is a couple of challenges that you faced when you stepped in, and how did you solve those problems? What kind of innovation that you've used for the betterment of the business and for helping improve customer satisfaction? If you have something from your top of your mind that you think were initially some challenges when you came in.
There were a lot of challenges when I came in.
Hmm.
There was certain kind of rigidity in operations in certain aspects. For example, when I was given since talking about my portfolio, I will talk about my entire management in sales management and marketing part. So
Sure.
what happened is, I saw that the average age of our sales teams in several locations were
Hmm.
little bit higher than the industry average. And
Hmm.
at that time, so that means that one person was doing one job for a long time. What
Hmm.
is happening is, that person, since doing the one job at the same time for a long time, he's getting mentally blocked. So that kind
Okay.
of blockage we have to remove. So for
Hmm.
what we did a circular marketing management, where there are incentivized certain areas, not only incentivizing the targets, incentivizing the
Hmm.
mode of approach
Hmm.
to the outlets, incentivizing to the placements, and everything was incentivized. And then we improved our own HR model. The HR model at that time, we thought that let us take it to the industry, because at that time, relatively to Bengal, our HR model was at par with the
Sure.
Bengal's average. But I
Yeah.
had to do it to national average. With the moment
Sure.
I do it on a national average, then what happens is the quality acquisitions, what happens after that. So that manifolds. So I thought that when are we going to the universities where we are giving placements, we have introduced placements of management trainees, or who are the immediate pass outs, which were not there at that time.
Before.
So
Yeah.
what happened? Fresh blood, fresh energy started coming in. There are certain people with no experience, they have nothing to lose, they are
Hmm.
just out of college, they're
Yeah.
hustling. This kind of
Yeah.
energy comes in. There is a lot of ideas which pours in at that time. So
Hmm.
we have taken a lot of ideas from many people we have worked around, and we are very open to ideas. We have having open offices, open discussions every fortnight. We are having every 14 days. We are sitting together and seeing, whatever is in your mind, you can speak of. Whatever
Sure.
you want to, whatever you're thinking that something we are not doing right, you have to speak of.
Hmm.
Sometimes what happens in India, in any big, because since we are following a pine tree hierarchy system
Yeah.
in our corporate culture, what happens is
Hmm.
many people are silent about what's what's not going correct. you know so
Hmm.
we just we opened the gates for their ideas. We
Yeah.
incorporated certain ideas, and this actually helped us in many places. Certain places that actually helped us regain our markets. In certain places we didn't have, certain places we were seeing that our market share was actually in a percentage dip. Then we improvised them, and then we regained our market shares in those areas. We expanded in many parts of India where we were not there. We were expanding the island territories like Andaman, Nicobar,
Hmm.
and again abroad in Nepal, Bangladesh, and we are right now, we are again in oceanic countries like Papua New Guinea and Fijian
Hmm.
Islands. And we'll start our operations in South Africa.
Wow.
So see, these kind of approaches comes from the team. We won't say that
Hmm.
everything we are implementing. I can lay down policies, I can lay down implementation of this policy and see it is properly executed and the proper person is there to do that.
Sure.
We have to take care of that part, and little bit of delegation should be there.
Hmm.
Everything we cannot hold in our hands, and we don't
Yeah.
uh, every step approvals, that red taping which we see in
Yeah.
many organizations today. So each and every approval should be getting clarified all the time. So rather than that, we had a policy framework done, approval frameworks done, implementation of Salesforce automation happened.
Hmm.
When you were asking about our contribution, so Salesforce automation was not there. It was a normal
Hmm.
DSR model was followed. So Salesforce automation came, and previously it was a big challenge because in certain places, there's lack of internet, lack of this thing, right? Then the 5G boom came, and
Yeah.
we took that advantage, and we introduced entire online system. ERP was always there. ERP was introduced
Sure.
long back. ERP was introduced
Yeah.
in 2005-6, when in India other people were also introducing, and we have our own IT team which have developed the ERP. So that is a separate issue. But I am talking about the DSM, like the channel sales automation. So that
Hmm.
with a click of a button, my distributor can order rather than talking to everybody for orders, transferring money. Other than that, everything must be app based, and everything
Yeah.
is a little bit smooth. So technological influx have happened, whatever to the extent it is required at this point of time. Otherwise,
Sure.
we have to maintain the economics also.
Yeah.
So
No, I think, yeah, please.
helped in a lot of good results. I must say.
Yeah. And I think what you also emphasized a couple of times is that it's not chasing technology innovations for the sake of chasing technology innovations. Where technology innovations can find applicability and improve your
Yeah.
existing products and experience for your customers, that's where you use technology, not to
Yes.
chase after technology because everybody's running after, let's say, a certain kind of technology in a particular period of time.
Yes.
One was obviously bringing in new technology to make the processes more efficient, smoother, and also bringing in new, talent. So with all of that in place for Shalimar, and you mentioned that there is this expansion that is going on to adjacent countries, to some far off countries as well. Uh, Now, India, Shalimar has a tremendous, brand value, legacy, trust, all of that. When you're going into new countries, new territories outside India, where maybe that Shalimar name is not as household as it is in
Mhm.
India, how do
Mhm.
you break that, initial, I would say, barrier, barrier to entry, to build that perception, build that brand in the mind of people? How are you going about doing that?
the best possible way. We were very much skeptical when we thought of going around, and in early days people used to go around for promotional activities and all.
Sure.
But right now, what we have taken, we took the advantage of digital marketing and digital boom, social media, and
Hmm.
programmatic campaigns, native
Yeah.
campaigns. There are a lot of campaigns where you can, where you can establish the presence of your product through a lot of retargeting, what we call marketing, digital retargeting part. So
Yeah.
digital marketing and digital retargeting is a little bit different. Digital
Yeah.
marketing is where we are selling our products online, and whatever the investments we have to do to sell the products online, promote the products online to get the results. That is done on the CPC model. You click on the product, you buy it, then the economics is calculated. How much money you're spending on clicking, how much money you're getting from the clicks. What retargeting, what we have done is we have created an awareness program through
Hmm.
online campaign, through online funneling to those countries. Hmm.
Hmm.
And we have created an awareness before even going, before 2 or 3 months of planning, when the planning is going on, negotiating with my partners in that country. Suppose in Papua
Hmm.
New Guinea and Fijian Islands, we have established a lot of digital promotions there. People using
Hmm.
Facebook over there, because Facebook is much still, it is much active over there. So people come to know about our brand. Certainly it's not a direct promotional activity, but a lot of digital marketing has been done. Apart from that, we have done a lot of social campaigns in the airports and everything. So that actually
Hmm.
helped in the awareness of the brand, as we represented as a made in India brand from India, which has got this kind of legacy, this kind of. And there are a lot of people who actually, we did
Hmm.
a research on how
Yeah.
much inquiries are coming. We have got that kind of data analysis also, where what kind of inquiries are coming from which country we are getting most inquiries. Depending on that, we plan our journey. First, we phase one, we go to this one. Phase two, we go to like right now we are trying to get into Australia, and
Hmm.
Australia will crack in this within this year shortly, because we have gone to New Zealand and everything, but Australia is still, the quality checks are going on as we speak. The quality
Sure.
checks is a little bit stringent over there, so it takes a lot of time. So
Yeah.
for that reason, keeping aside the quality checks, we have to do a lot of promotion in the digital sphere. And in the
Hmm.
we are tying up with the local influencers. um, John Buchanan, you must be
Hmm.
knowing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
John
Yeah. Yeah.
Buchanan was
Host.
our
Yeah.
mascot. Is our mascot in Australia right now.
Wow.
So we have to take certain collaborators who will actually
Hmm.
promote the product, and
Yeah.
introduce the product in a certain localized way. So what
Yeah.
we are doing, we are also planning a product marketplace. What happens is,
Hmm.
which product is good for which market, what kind of
Hmm.
product in which kind of market, the MIG, HIG. There are certain amount of
Sure.
products, like certain SKUs, which are going to click with that kind of market. Now,
Sure.
yes, click with that kind of market. So in that way, we are analyzing and keeping on going forward like this.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you're doing digital marketing campaigns, retargeting, social campaigns, online, offline, airports, and all of that. Uh, Now in India, obviously the brand was built using different channels and media, because this was all pre-social media. When you're
Pre-social.
going to pre-social media, so now when you're going into new territories, new markets, obviously you have to use these available and fantastic tools and channels that are available. How have you seen people now get, I would say, influenced to buy, or the channels being more effective when they see a product through, let's say, social media like Facebook, Instagram? And you talked about having popular faces there. How are you seeing the consumer preferences being molded by, let's say, the rise of these influencers, lifestyle influencers, who are promoting brands, who are promoting certain products? How have you seen that shift during the, let's say, the last 7 to 10 years?
uh, uh, there's a huge paradigm shift from
Hmm.
the place. At that time, at one point of time, there used to be brand ambassadors. Still you have brand ambassadors in India, where in
Sure.
the remote areas, in the rural,
Celebrities will typically have a Celebrities,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
in the non metros, the tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four cities, where the
Yeah.
influence of this kind of brand ambassadors is massive. Now, when we are targeting, it depends. Like when we are targeting a certain section of the society,
Hmm.
and we have to do a research on what this kind of section, what do they watch, how do they get influenced. Then we
Hmm.
collaborate with influencers, who which influencers they are watching more. We collaborate with them. And what is the most important part during this campaign is the usage of the product must be highlighted first, because there are coconut oil brands in India,
Yeah.
over there. In Singapore, you have a lot of brands. What happens is, why will they use my coconut oil or my
Sure.
spice or my hair oil categories, my
Hmm.
edible oil? So what is the way? So we opened up in our social media, be in the campaigns with the influencers, like the how it is manufactured, how it is made, how people are reacting to it, real time cooking. We consider these kind of house parties and all. We give our products, we take feedbacks, and it's a community kind of a small community awareness programs which we have, which
Understood.
actually contribute to the society. And at the end of the day, whatever influences we take, how many
Hmm.
influences collaborate with, ultimately after the usage, if the person is not satisfied, they're not going to buy it for the second time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to reduce the economics, to reduce the marketing budgets, we need to
Hmm.
improve the product, quality budget of the organization. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
if the quality is there, 100% people will use.
Yeah.
If they get proper quality at the proper price, the price is also
Yeah.
important. The competition
Yeah.
is there. You cannot price
Yeah.
it in a very abnormal way. We have to
Yeah.
maintain the pricing, we have to maintain everything. At the same time, we have to maintain the quality. Everything actually
Yeah.
matters where we are putting. Like, we cannot just force, we can forcefully buy spaces, buy shelves, and put it in the
Hmm.
market. Right now, what the modern trade does, they charge you to keep the products there. Okay, so you see
Hmm.
many products in the end cap regions, in any mall or anything
Yeah.
where you're going, but actually you're paying for that space.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
one thing that is coming into your above the line expenses. What
Hmm.
happens during below the line is, there should be certain people who are standing there with our products,
Sure.
explaining to people how it is used, then pushing it, and then you see it. You have to be little bit conservative in the middle part, a little bit open in the introductory
Hmm.
part. It is
Sure.
how it is played. The entire, I
Yeah.
think that actually helps. And what to answer your question, what is the difference I'm seeing? People are really moved by the influencers these days. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
even when I am using any product, or I am buying
Hmm.
any product, I will watch what these kind of my favorite influencers are telling me to buy
The
it.
people you trust. The people you trust.
Last, I know that there is a collaboration, since
Sure.
I'm also a businessman, I'm also collaborating with them. A person will
Yeah.
certainly not talk about your product unless and until there is some product collaboration going on. Okay,
Sure.
so the thing is, depending on that also, but, we actually give our products to some very honest reviewers. These days we have already tried, and we have already approached, as we speak. I won't say that the entire thing has been completed. We have
Yeah.
approached certain product critics. You find a lot
Hmm.
of people in LinkedIn and in YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't want to name the channels, but they actually review the product. What is harmful in this product, what is good
Yeah.
in this product, like
Yeah.
that. So we send our
Yeah.
products to them, and I tell them,
Yeah.
we tell them, you review my product honestly,
Yeah.
review my product honestly, and then we can also improve if there is anything, if you observe.
Okay.
Depending
Very
on that,
interesting.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have
And
kept it very open with my customers. Hmm.
I think yeah, I mean, and great that you're open to that feedback coming, unfiltered, candid feedback coming in. One thing that you mentioned is that going into different countries has its own, obviously, customer preference, but also you know compliances, quality checks, and now especially products that we use on our person, like whether oil or spices we consume. Uh, recently, again, not taking names,
Mm.
some brands from India got into legal troubles in other countries because of not enough quality checks being in place. So when you're going to countries like, let's say, Australia and New Zealand, which are very, very particular about consumer rights, consumer health, uh, does it make it more difficult as a brand coming from India to build that credibility, trust in those markets, not just with the authorities but with the consumers? And how do you sort of bridge that challenge?
This kind of complaints what we have received in the past, with certain brands, which
Yes.
actually holds, it's little bit concerning, like,
Hmm.
why these kind of elements are present in the product. At the
Sure.
same time, it is a agro product, whatever
Yeah.
came into the limelight.
Yeah.
So now, just the manufacturer who is selling, you know,
Hmm.
I think the entire circle of the chain of supply chain must be taken into consideration before doing these kind of decisions. But it is actually, whoever has faced this problem, they can explain that. Fortunately, we did not face any kind of problem like that.
Sure.
And we actually try to, we are very self critical about our product. We are very passionate about the product which we happen, because at the end of the day, whatever
Hmm.
life we have got, what we understand, what we got we got this education from my family. Whatever
Yeah.
lifestyle we're having today is a
Yeah.
result of the love and affection of my customers towards the brand. The
Yeah.
result, that is the result. If my product, our products were not accepted by the customers,
Yeah.
not loved
Yeah.
by the customer, I wouldn't have been sitting here talking to you today.
Sure. Sure.
So the thing is, we are very much thankful, and for that reason, in all the generations, whatever, from the beginning, from the founder to the second generation to the third generation, we have been
Hmm.
imparted, whatever it is, there should not be any compromise in any kind of quality. That is why you will see that, sometimes in our edible sector, we are able to give very limited amount of supply, because,
Hmm.
to increase the production and to
Yeah.
increase the tonnage more than your capacity. Okay,
Yeah.
by doing little bit of, by mixing, there are a lot of companies who are doing that, but that is not going to help with my customers actually.
Sure.
For that, we are very much sensitive about that part.
Sure.
So
And I. Mhm.
so that kind of whatever upbringing we have inculcated, we have applied in our
Sure.
products, and I hope, till now, by God's grace, it has been loved, and everything is loved till now. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hirak, shifting gears a little bit, going into the plans for the future, and thank you so much for explaining how the FMCG market and the distribution and the consumer preference are changing, and how you are expanding to new territories. Talking a little about what you had referred earlier is building a talent pipeline, a new talent pipeline, growing and developing them. And you talked about some of the things like incentivizing, giving them feedback, taking feedback from them. As a company which has spanned 80 plus years, you put a lot of focus on HR in your organization, and you said that your HR needs to be benchmarked with rest of India, rest of world, and not just Bengal, because you want to attract and grow talent from everywhere. So if you can talk a little bit about how Shalimar as a company, as a place to work, is attracting talent and developing that talent through different whatever you call it, cultural programs, policies, incentives. If you can share a little bit about the employer employee aspect at Shalimars.
For any organization to be aligned all through their tenure of the organization and the growth process, one
Hmm.
corporate culture is really important. The culture within
Yeah.
the organization must be set up first, and
Hmm.
everybody who is in the team must be aligned with that kind of culture. And whatever
Hmm.
culture we have established in the organization, what we call is, call is, we are working across cultures, right? Where there are people from
Sure.
different parts parts of the country who are working in the organization today. Okay, we have people
mm,
from North, people from Kashmir, people from Punjab, people from Bombay, who are all in their own sectors they are working. So the moment they are coming together under one roof, okay, when
mm,
we are having these vast general meetings and quarterly meetings, everybody comes together, and we try to have 2 or 3 day events like that. They actually gel with each other, they talk to each other, they share their
yeah,
interests, everything. Whatever conversation we are having is not about the business, it's about the personal. We need to empathize with our team.
mm,
Empathizing
mm,
with the team is really important, rather than
mm,
giving them straight cut targets, straight cut,
yeah,
to do this because you have been hired, you have been paid this kind of a package. You are
yeah,
getting an MC, I have given you 2x of that. We have to understand the problems faced by that
mm,
individual within our organization, if any,
mm,
and
mm,
taking our organization to the market in the
yeah,
domestic sphere or in the international sphere. So this kind
yeah,
of we need to empathize with that. It should be empathic with the team. So, and team
yeah,
building process is also there. Proper talent acquisition happens. There are a lot of talent pools right now. We have partnered with LinkedIn,
yeah,
Business Talent Solutions. They are one of our talent solution program partners. So
yeah,
there we have seen the upgradation of talent. And our
mm,
organization, since we want to take the organization in the suppose at par with the MNCs today. Okay,
mm,
so that reason, what happens is the thinking of the individual within the organization should have that kind of thinking. For example, suppose today the amount of business or revenue what we are doing, if the
yeah,
person who is working in the organization certainly thinks that it's a lot, then it's a problem.
mm, yeah,
It should be, it is peanuts, we can do
mm,
better. And that
mm,
person is self-critical about themselves. Similarly, I am self-critical, my entire board is self-critical. We
mm,
are self-critical. Even with our products, we try to improve it every day. How
sure,
better can we? Similarly, we want to inculcate that kind of culture within our organization, within the teams, that they're all self-critical rather than self giving them their own report card. What we see a lot
mm,
these days, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We say that until and unless and
mm,
there is any third party tools and analytical teams
mm,
who is actually testing you or analyzing your ability, you cannot
yeah,
do it yourself. So
sure,
for that reason, that kind of culture at the same time we have a lot of fun. We have matches, we have game nights and all these things. This
yeah,
actually helps the overall organization. And the
yeah,
language is the common language. There is a certain SOP in our
mm,
organization, what I told about the culture. So
yeah.
that must be followed in the organization together.
Yeah, yeah, and I think one thing you mentioned, which was very caught my attention, because obviously I did my education in HR, but then obviously I went into do different thing. But what you said is that you don't want to make it a very transactional relationship between employer employee. I give you
Yes.
money, I give you targets, you meet target, you take money, you go home. That's not what the culture at Shalimar is, and what has been evident, without taking names, that you've been able to attract some great talent from other parts of the India, and who've joined the Shalimar fold and are doing wonderfully. So I think that is I would say, a playbook that can in the future help Shalimar find the great talent who, let's say, typically would, out of their B schools or out of their engineering, would go to a PNG or an HUL. But as Shalimar as a brand, when we have a culture like that, we have this exposure to different countries that you can go into and do great in your career. I think that will be a great way to attract. And also the fact that you have used these modern tools and templates like LinkedIn. Not a lot of, I would say, traditional companies are on LinkedIn today. They still have age-old, recruitment processes, but LinkedIn obviously has facilitated, and we are doing this on LinkedIn. So obviously, we are very Sorry, Hirak,
we
you were
actually
saying something.
we actually I when we introduced this kind of HR tools and everything, what we always had the target, that the person should not be after me. I should be after that professional all the time to
Hmm.
crack him and bring him to my
Yeah.
organization, and we
Yeah.
have successfully done it. Now one tenth of my organization is talents like that, and
Hmm.
we will establish more. And
Yeah.
we have already upgraded our HR at level with today at level with Nestle and PNG. Whatever
Yeah.
packages they are giving, we are also giving the same packages,
Wonderful.
qualitative packages where it is required, critical packages where everything is required, because we are taking people from organizations from HUL, from Marico, from PNG. They are shifting to organizations like ours, and help us building a brand for the future,
Yeah.
you know.
Wonderful.
So for that reason is the only thing is the corporate culture. The corporate culture must be very comfortable. That person should not think about a job he's going out to do.
Yeah.
He should think, he's going out to do his own business. He's enjoying his business, and there should not be any kind of headache regarding his salary hikes, or he's working for so long and he's not getting this kind of exposure in the company. That kind of back thinking, we told that,
Yeah.
you erase whatever you rate, whatever you have.
Hmm.
There are, we have these feedback forms which goes out,
Yeah.
unnamed feedback forms. So
Yeah.
there are no, so we take feedback, the management takes feedback, how the management is, they can express themselves, and this is really done in a very decoded manner, where we can
Yeah.
understand, where are we going wrong, what better we can do for the people, what better team, how better team I can see. At the end of the day, the company is a company
Yeah.
of people. He can sell any product. That should be
Yeah.
the concept. Product can be anything. It's the
Yeah.
people who makes the difference.
Completely agree. And I think, Hirok, when you mentioned that, you're bringing new blood, you're bringing, people from, MBA institutes, engineering institutes, they also have their own demands, right? Today, it is not the earlier generation where I go to a company and I'm there for life. They are very
Yes.
demanding. They want not just, the salary, they want the culture, they want the autonomy, they want feedback, they want growth. So all of that, today's generation of workers, uh, or talent, are demanding from their employers, which is, I believe, good in a manner. Hirok, you had mentioned that the value of the job that you are doing, that is not always the same across the country. And since you've operated across the country, you've seen that regional disparities or differences in terms of how a skill is valued and how it is rewarded. And that was a very interesting thing that I learned from you when we were chatting offline. If you can, in a nutshell, share your experience about that regional skill differences and the value of a skill that you find when you're hiring, developing professionals.
See, from the in history we have seen, India is a land where the talent or the skill is very much localized. For example, people from this part are very good in this. Bengal
Sure.
was always very excellent in handloom. There is
Yeah.
Benares is excellent with their yarn and silk. So this kind of workmanship has got a very specialized place. Similarly, when it comes to operations, for example, manufacturing of certain objects, what
Yeah.
happens is, it is not a natural object which is not coming from centuries and passed on. So little bit of training is required. What
Yeah.
happens in India today is, many workers from Bengal are going to many different parts of the country. Similarly, I will people don't talk about that much. Many people from outside Bengal come into Bengal to learn about the fabrics and everything. Whoever the
Sure.
fashion industry today, so they are
Yeah.
coming learning here. So
Yeah.
and we have people who has got extremely adaptive skills. You know,
Hmm.
the eastern part of India has been named for it because of its skilled labor. What I say, the
Yeah.
extremely adaptive adaptive talent they have. So they can go
Hmm.
to any part of the country, even in their own homeland. They can come into any industry and they can work around it. So what happens now is, the amount of industries available at one point, the market
Hmm.
available, the location of the market, the industries available in one market. What happens is when the person is coming into one organization, and in the periphery of that organization there are very less industries of that same kind of production point. So the
Hmm.
expectation of that worker or that labor goes very
Yeah.
high, very high, because he
Hmm.
knows that, I know this work.
Yeah.
But the thing is, apart from me, only five people know this work, or around me there are two or three industries who are doing it, not 200, 300. So the
Hmm.
competition is low, so my asking margin will be high. At the
Yeah.
same point, what is lacking is the marketplace. Suppose this industry is uh, actually working in a market where the market competition is there,
Yeah.
lot of competition in the market. So
Yeah.
suppose fabrics or any our
Yeah.
products, I will talk about, let us call product A is manufactured in the western part of India. There are 300
Hmm.
factories. That same
Yeah.
product A is manufactured in eastern part of India. There are 20 factories. So the
Yeah.
skilled labor in Bengal or in the eastern
Hmm.
part of India will actually expect more salary or
Absolutely.
more
Absolutely.
value to his skill, rather than
Yeah.
the in 200, 300, where there are 300 factories. What
Yeah.
happens is when both are coming in the market is same for everybody. The
Yeah.
competition
Yeah.
is there. Everybody is lowering the cost. The only way you can lower the cost, obviously you need economic labor to lower
Yeah.
the cost in the market. You
Yeah.
cannot have a very high labor cost and be very economic in the market. That is not proper
Yeah.
economics.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is,
Mhm.
yeah, for that reason what happens is many skilled value what we create here tend to
Hmm.
go, to some certain places. But the thing is, there is always a retention of this kind of skilled labor. For that reason I told you, the different parts of India have got this different value for skill.
Yeah. Yeah. And Hirok, I think it reminded me of my lessons in economics 101 and microeconomics, where you always want the free market to
Yes.
take control, and you don't want to put pressures on the market.
Hmm.
Eventually, whether there's a higher demand or higher supply, the market will come to equilibrium, and that's the famous, what do you call, Adam Smith model or Keynesian model, where you
Yes.
let the free market take place. From that, that context, and since we have, I know we are almost close to time, but I would just like to extend a bit because I have a couple of areas that I
Yes.
want your you know thoughts on. When we say that the free market will get us an optimal equilibrium which will be beneficial for all, suppliers and consumers, uh, in Bengal, as you mentioned, and one of the reasons why we started Kolkata Calling was there was a lot of migration of labor from Kolkata to outside for decades. uh, Over the last few years we have seen some examples that this trend is maybe slowing or reversing to some extent. Given that you operate pan India and you have this close connection with understanding the labor market here and as elsewhere, uh, turning the focus a little on Kolkata, where do you see Kolkata and Bengal's relevance in the broader pan Indian ecosystem, economic system, and what is your vision? What can we do better as a community, as an ecosystem, and maybe where we are lacking? You said candid feedback. What would you say that we can do better, and where do we have definitely more advantage compared to other parts of the world as well?
I have seen a lot of interviews recently in the past
Hmm.
2 or 3 years, and people talk about, nothing is happening here in
Mhm.
Bengal and people are going on, and these kind of, they have raised a lot of concern. But
Yeah,
the problem is we have to understand the positional advantage of Bengal, the geographic location of Bengal. The geographic
sure.
location of Bengal makes the land very much fertile, which
Yeah,
makes it agricultural hub of the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what can be done is, if we think um, on a much broader perspective, because the sense of Bengal's business and Gujarat's business and Rajasthan's businesses or Bangalore's business is seen very separately in a
Sure.
one nation category. That is a positive aspect, is that we are very intra competitive, which helps us
Hmm.
grow and
Yeah.
helps ourselves grow. At the same time, which is a little bit puts us in a very n- uh, in- what I'll say, like, b- uh, certain aspects are not considered. For example, Bengal is has fertile land, has got very
Hmm.
much good, can be good in agriculture. So we
Yeah.
need more agro industry coming inside Bengal,
Sure.
rather than other kinds of heavy industry which requires infertile lands, or different kinds of lands which can be used for other kind of businesses, like heavy industry like iron and steel, all these things.
Yeah.
They need land as a very
Hmm.
concrete level. But
Hmm.
we are a very fertile land. The amount of infertile land, or the seasonal land, is very
Yeah.
less in Bengal. So for
Hmm.
that reason, we concentrate more on the agro industry. And this is just like, in the previously, if we thought, we were discussing regarding, there is certain new technology, and all the organizations rush towards taking the technology rather than
Hmm.
thinking what is good for them. I think
Yeah.
if we apply that same concept here, we have to invest more, and we have to look for agro industries and develop them in Bengal.
Hmm.
That will
Yeah.
actually be a game changer for
Hmm.
Bengal. Because other industry, there are certain parts of India which are very much infertile. There is land, acres and acres of land barren, for of no use. That can
Yeah.
be used for heavy industries, automobile industry, where you need 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, like that. But here, the production you cup, for example, one acre of a rice field can give a lot of production value to that.
Yeah.
Uh, 1 acre, half acre of wheat industry, half acre of rice industry, pulses industry, that can be
Yeah.
that can turn around magic. And if we can put some technological innovation in that kind of operation, then the
Hmm.
supply chain, whoever are running businesses in supply chain in eastern part of India has got the most organized supply chain, and
Yeah.
the third most third highest consumer market. So how
Yeah.
come East India, everybody is saying, and half of the things are not happening, and still remaining third highest consumer region,
Yeah.
which have got a very organized FMCG sector
Yeah.
compared to other regions.
Yeah.
And this is because of the medium and small industries. We
Yeah.
can be a hub of medium and small industries, and that is much, actually, that is much balancing for the state economy. If we can concentrate on medium, small, large industries, of course you need for as a
Yeah.
backbone. But it all depends on the availability of the land and availability of the resources. Whatever resources
Yeah.
we have, we can
Yeah.
utilize it to 100%. I think
Yeah.
it will be excellent, because every businesses, for example, businesses like us or businesses like anybody else, they will
Yeah.
always move towards the source of the
Yeah.
material, of the resources. Suppose I am
Yeah.
making coke, so I have to be near the source to give
Yeah.
it a very economic way to the market. So that is business. It's not about bringing business. We have to bring the right businesses
Rice
inside.
business. Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to
And I think,
encourage. The talent is there, and
hmm.
innovation is there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And while obviously, we, celebrate new technology companies coming into Kolkata,
Yes.
IT companies opening offices, which is very important because, a lot of our readily available talent pool has studied engineering, has studied IT, and obviously it's a great opportunity for them to find employment in these companies in Kolkata and Bengal. But what you
Mm.
mentioned is the comparative advantage that Bengal has in terms of its fertile land and being an agro based economy. We should not lose that trying to chase what other states are doing or what other regions are doing and excelling, because they have their own comparative advantage, whatever you call, and they have maximized it. We,
Yes.
if we try to replicate them, we might be always second best, but here in Bengal, what we do best, we can always be the front runners and leaders
Yes,
in
we have
that
to, we have
particular.
to work with our strengths. Actually, what is our
Yeah.
strength today? What is readily available? What kind of skill
Yes.
is readily available? You have to utilize that rather than importing skill. We
Yeah.
have a lot of talent and skill over here. The IT industries which are coming in, kudos to them, kudos to the
Yeah.
organizations who are coming in. But the thing is, they should be at least contribute. They can contribute to these agro-based industries, because agricultural industries, food industry is huge over here, and food is
Yeah.
what actually united Bengal at that time. And
Hmm.
whatever happened, if you see, the thinking of Bengalis are much more cosmopolitan rather than
Yes.
other parts of India, I would say, because
Sure.
of the culinary mix, what happened through
Hmm.
last 500 years. And
Yeah.
food has
Yeah.
united us all the time. We have never seen any
Hmm.
difference because of that. So the
Yeah.
agro
Yeah.
industry was always thriving from Bengal,
Yeah.
during the industrial age and industrial era, everything was based on agriculture.
Yeah, yeah. No, wonderful to see that optimism. Hirak, I would be, terribly remiss if I don't talk about, and this is, I promise, the last segment. This is something that is very close to your heart, and you've spoken about it in multiple forums. Uh, and I don't know how you find time to do that, but you co-founded Animal Kingdom, and I know this. You feel very deeply about it. If you can share a little bit about how this idea about Animal Kingdom came about, why it came about, and what you and your family are doing today for this, if you can share with our viewers as well.
Animal Kingdom has been a emotion for us. For the reason is me. I co-founded along with my wife. My wife is an
Hmm.
avid animal lover. She is very much empathetic with stray dogs, and she has always worked with them from a very early age. I have
Yeah.
worked. I have admired her working with the strays. I have personally, I get very attached to them. We
Hmm.
used to rescue quite a few before, and I used to get so much attached. And then we saw during COVID what
Yeah.
we adopted a small puppy, and then this puppy was actually fell very sick, and at that
Hmm.
time it was very difficult for the his treatment. We were
Yeah.
running, we didn't even know what to do, because we adopted the puppy, and after 3 days, COVID shutdown was declared. So the
Yeah.
vaccination part and everything. So what we were thinking, we were roaming around in Calcutta, we were seeing one clinic must be open to save the puppy. Fortunately,
Yeah.
we got hold of very good doctors. We did a lot of research, and we saved it, and it's a part of the family now. He's a part of the family.
Hmm.
But the thing is, then we realized when we were doing this, this kind of problem is faced by so many people, and especially the strays. And there are so many organizations and NGOs who are actually
Hmm.
rescuing them and having a difficulty to restore them in certain areas. So
Yeah.
what we that time we started looking for proper land and everything, and then we created this Animal Kingdom shelter of Bawali
Hmm.
Rajbari. If we
Hmm.
of Bawali Rajbari, it's 2 kilometers from Bawali Rajbari.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we found the land, and we set up the entire animal park there. It's kind of a
Hmm.
resort where people,
Yeah.
it's an open shelter concept, where they are not caged, or they are not kept anywhere in the between, but they are in the open land. Everybody stays together. We have got a staff of around 10 people working day and night. We have our food supplies in at place. Logistics have been placed, and then we what I contributed is to give it a proper framing, give it a proper structure, put the entire thing, put in organizational values there also with the staff. The staff, whatever, whoever are working there, are all volunteers who love animals, and they want to do
Yeah.
something for them. So the thing is, we thought that, and at that time one shelter was getting closed near
Hmm.
Bajpaj region. And then what
Okay.
we did is we went to that shelter, we rescued all the animals from there. We brought them to our shelter. Then we started taking admissions. We started mass adoption programs. From there, we
Okay.
started awareing the people around us to to adopt strays rather than buying a
Mm.
breed dog. You should adopt
Yeah.
strays because the strays are the stray dogs or the Indian breeds are the best breeds you can get.
Yeah. Again,
Adapting
I
to
think,
our
very,
climate.
yeah,
This
I
is
was
how
going
I,
to say that again. So to bring it back to the comparative advantage, I think the strays have the best comparative advantage in the Indian climate, in the subcontinent climate,
yes,
whereas
yes,
other breeds imported from outside, they need medication, constant attention.
constant
The
attention.
strays are completely acclimatized with this environment, and
Yes,
they thrive if
yes.
they get a nice home.
And if they
So,
get a
Hiro,
proper nutrition and diet, they grow beautifully. I mean,
yeah,
we have done certain adoptions, and it has been
yeah,
a tremendous journey for us. We started with 5, and now we have more than 200. So we have
wow,
rescued,
wonderful.
so, from different
So,
parts of
Hirak,
India.
for our listeners who are animal lovers who want to adopt, if they want to adopt these rescues from Animal Kingdom, what would be the process? How can they start doing this?
They can approach us in our page, Facebook page, Animal
Okay,
Kingdom Shelter, and
okay,
there they can directly message us, DM us, and then the person who takes care of the adoption will get in touch with them. And there are
wonderful.
certain adoption forms and terms and conditions, because we, after adoption done, we actually monitor them for 1 year,
Yes,
what they are doing, how they are kept, because whether they are adopted and then they couldn't handle them anymore, and then they are
yeah,
again abandoned. That shouldn't happen. Those kind of
mm,
bonds we certainly have, and we keep a constant check on them. And we are very string. We actually choose our adopters actually over here,
okay,
because we have to see the background, whether their economic condition and everything is
sure,
okay. And for even with the low economic condition, I think the best adoption can happen is for the strays, because they are so
yeah,
much adaptable to the food
yeah,
we eat, because they have been developed on the streets. So they're very
yeah,
much strong. They've got a very strong immune
yeah,
system. At the
yeah,
same time, they're very loving and very adorable. I must say. So,
wonderful.
so the thing is, it's really good. So they can DM us directly, and we will guide them, because there are certain adoption forms, KYC forms, and everything we
Sure.
take for the adopters, their economic conditions, some certainly their income and everything, and then we give it to them.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for our listeners and viewers, please, we'll share the link as well. Animal Kingdom Shelter on Facebook page. You can reach out directly to
Thank you
them.
so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hirok, it has been a real pleasure. I know I overshot the time that I had committed, but it has been fantastic listening to your journey, your vision for Shalimar's, how you are expanding, how you are looking at building an organization with young talent, infusing technology, and obviously your vision of Calcutta and Bengal, where you want to take advantage of what is naturally given to us and
Hmm.
grow that to make this land great. Hirok, before we close our live stream on this Sunday, any closing thoughts, any closing words for our audience, for our viewers?
uh, I must say that when you approached me, and I was looking at your page and the interviews which you have done. You're doing a fantastic job, and
Thank
the
you.
content, I must say, is little bit different, because it is not a it's an impromptu interview,
Yeah,
like more than interview. It's just like a conversation, and
sure.
I
Thank
felt
you.
really comfortable, and really, and I don't mind, since 20 minutes have passed the time, but
Yeah,
I don't mind that. So it has been really good experience for me. It's a great learning from you also, how you're handling the awareing your listeners. This is really important, that when we are having certain amount of following, if
yeah,
we can make them aware of certain things, so that they can learn from this 1 hour. So
sure.
it's a great
Uh,
thing you're doing. So hats
Thank
off
you
to
so
you.
much. Really kind words. Really grateful. And I think our listeners and viewers also learned a lot from your journey and this podcast listening to you. Thank you so much, Hirok.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you taking time. We'll close this stream today. And again, very happy Sunday. Congratulations to everybody who loves cricket and India. And with that, we'll close the session. Thank you so much, Hirok
Thank you.
of Shalimars.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Happy Sunday to you too.